Hello and welcome to On the Clock, presented by Workstream. If you care about hiring and retaining hourly employees, you're in the right place. I'm Daniel Blazer, and today's episode is a special one. We're bringing you the highlights from a recent panel discussion with Anna Khan, Ericka Garza, and Bo Lee. Anna is general partner at CRV, Ericka is an advisor and former president of Aubon Pan, and Bo is head of product integrations at Workstream. I had the privilege of asking these experts about the impact of AI on the hourly workforce. If your job has anything to do with hiring, managing, and retaining hourly workers, and you've been wondering how AI might impact your role, there's a lot to learn from today's episode. Enjoy! The first question I had is for Anna. When you kind of look at how, new technology makes its way to different industries, what trends do you see? And specifically, I'm wondering, when you look at the hourly economy or the deskless economy, where do some of those industries fall in the typical adoption curve?
Yeah, I think that's a pretty layered question. Maybe I'll address it two ways. I think the first is, and this is not to say that non-deskless workers don't have core use cases, but the way I see the deskless market is there are a few things that they really struggle with that they have to get right. The number one thing, and this is actually part of the main pitch Desmond had given me when we first invested, is they really deal with turnover and labor shortages. Like, you ask someone who is either a franchise owner or a manager at a franchise, that's their number one issue. And so in my investment horizon, in my investment theses, I look for, does this software or this application of software solve your top three core use cases? I'm sure there are 10 or 20 other things that products can do, but those are nice to haves. And in the deskless workforce, I think there are a few things. We chatted about labor turnover. So that's, how do people find a job? How do they show up to an interview on time? How do you then get them onboarded? And then, Bo, you worked at ADP, so you know this. How do you get them paid? And then all the other stuff comes after, which is, how do managers talk to their teams? How do they motivate their teams? I think that's likely going to happen in the second and third wave. When you talk about sort of the cycle of innovation, I don't even think we're there yet. I think the first wave of critical use cases has still not been met, which is why as a VC and as an investor, we get so excited about this market, because there's so much that is still not offered, that is still, like I sort of, said in my intro, in binders, in papers, still faxes are used in this industry. And so that's what I think is so important and can create so much value. And then we'll get to the second, third order use cases.
Now, Ericka, I know you mentioned in your intro you have this wide background in the franchise world, and I know franchises are all about scalability. Why is technology such a key part of successful scaling?
First, I think that's a great question, and I'd love to share with you my perspective from having the experience of running a franchisor and working directly with franchisees, because I've always been the liaison between both. So I get both perspectives, and I play and I understand both worlds. And I think my response, I think it's important also when it comes to technology. It's, from the franchisor perspective, the expectations are way higher with franchisees, what they expect from the franchisor side. So I wanted to share that. And scalability is fundamental. It's an aspect of the franchise business model. And it plays a pivotal role in achieving successful scaling. Technology empowers franchises to expand and grow efficiently by streamlining operations, enhancing customer experience, and obviously optimizing decisions in the process. I can tell you that technology is at least what I consider to be a key part of scaling a business from the franchisor to franchisee by operational efficiency, data-driven decision-making, standardization, enhanced customer experience. From my experience, I know that from working at Yum and Aubon Pan, but most recently When it came to technology, I'll be very frank with you. I think the site of Obampan, we did lack quite a bit of technology. And I think it unfortunately hindered some of the business because it was difficult to keep up. But some of the examples that I can share with you that I think Yum did an excellent and when it comes to technology and driven solutions. But for us, as I reflect back what was limited to us, I think back about not having any labor metrics or a labor system. And that's critical, right? When you're trying to like control P&Ls or when you don't have loyalty or you don't have delivery. I do think it's very important to share with you that Albanpan is a non-traditional business, but at the end of the day, the main goal for the franchisor and franchisees is to be profitable. And so when you don't have the technology that's needed, A, to keep up, 2, to keep customer service, I won't say the word to be in trend, but I will just say that it can hinder the business. And that's where I strongly think that technology is just incredibly important in order for you to be able to grow business and scale.
What does the franchise space look like? Like, is there kind of the same excitement around AI maybe, or is it a little bit more subdued than the broader tech market?
I do believe, in order for me to kind of approach this question, I think it's important that it's something that we know, but it's important to be said again in the QSR space and the franchise space, particularly in the restaurant. This is my personal point of view. I think there's been an unfairness of really understanding and embracing and adopting AI. I just do, because I think that franchisees and franchisors are so fully concentrated, which I understand, on the labor and the food costs and the supply chain and all the other issues that come with running the restaurant space. And I think, therefore, as much as AI has definitely made an impact on the franchise space, I'm just not sure if the franchisees or franchisors are jumping in or have, like you said, that subdued feeling as other industries do. I think as much as they've been able to catch on, I think that there's a lot of, in addition to the concerns I just talked about, there's the privacy, right? There's the overall cost, which is very expensive. I think the bigger franchisors are able and have the capabilities, with the franchise organizations and communities to have these pilots. But I do think that you're going to find that sentiment that a lot of franchisees and franchisors, why I think they're trying to share the same sentiment. I think it's going to be a little bit more of adopting the approach of let's wait and see what is actually going to happen, because I do think the concerns are so high. And again, in my humble opinion, I think it's disappointing, because I think it's something that could be incredibly helpful in so many ways. But I think until these alarming concerns that are impacting the bottom line and the business and employees as well, the focus is going to be highly concentrated in those areas. And I think for quite some time, honestly.
That's a good transition to a question I had for Bo. Ericka's mentioning some obstacles when it comes to, certain industries of the franchise space, QSR. She talked about just cost, both in terms of like actual cost, but also, time. There, a lot of people are just focused on day to day running their business. They can't really, worry about AI or, other new technology. Given some of those obstacles, like what did we kind of prioritize as Workstream was looking into, expanding into AI? Like how is Workstream AI built with some of these concerns in mind, I guess?
One thing that we have learned is when we talk to our customer about AI, it doesn't register, because nobody knows what the heck is AI, right? It's like if we are a car builder and we find a new way of building engines, and we talk about engines to a person who needs to go from point A to point B, that doesn't actually, to them, it's meaningless. So from a Workstream perspective, we have to go through our core. What are we here to do? What problem are we trying to solve? Talk to our customer about the actual problem and how we're solving it. Maybe the last sentence is, by the way, this is powered by AI. But it's more important to talk about the problem and how we're solving it. It's less important to talk about the technology, if that makes sense.
Now, Erica, I did want to ask you about, you kind of mentioned some of the obstacles around, new technology adoption. I just love to get your take, as you kind of learn about Workstream AI, Workstream Assistant, some of this stuff. What was your kind of your initial take, and specifically, what do you think it could mean for helping those in the franchise space?
I think in the context of franchises, where scalability is so crucial, um, I believe that Workstream AI is a game changer. I really do. I believe that so many franchises often face challenges in managing so many multiple things, whether it's hiring, screening, retaining, um, and it's just hard to keep that flow and that process, keep it going efficiently. I believe that integrating Workstream AI into franchise operations will lead to improved efficiency, reduced time, um, and ultimately contribute to the success and growth of all the franchise businesses. Plus, the fact that Interlingo, I think, is incredible, and I can tell you that you know running the franchisor and being incredibly involved in the day-to-day operations and being the leader of rolling up your sleeves and interacting with the employees at the restaurant and cafe levels, I can tell you from firsthand experience that a lot of the times that our employees weren't able to go to the next level or get any clarification and concerns that they had, it was always an issue because of language barrier. That's one. Number two, there was an issue of at home, many times not having technology in their house, but they did have a phone. Number three, the intimidation, right? Because of not knowing what to ask, what to say, am I going to sound correct? And I think the fact that Workstream, in my opinion, it's one of those, when I started getting to know more about Workstream and the benefits to the employees, the fact that there's a platform and there's a business and there's leadership in the top that is thinking of hourly employees and how to facilitate the process, not only for the business from the HR side of it, but really with the heart and the soul and the mind and the intention of the actual hourly employees and how to get them to the next step and how to facilitate the process and make this more mechanical and more user friendly for them to be able to go to the next level. So I think it's incredible. And I'm a strong believer that it's a total game changer for franchisors and franchisees, but most importantly for the employees.
I did want to ask, Anna, you talked about this a little bit earlier, what you kind of see as being the unique value of Workstream AI, but I wanted to kind of, dial down in that a little bit more, like what do you think are some of the other differentiators when it comes to AI for the deskless workforce, specifically the, kind of the Workstream assistant model? Like, how do you think that could, influence hiring and retention and some of these things?
I think Erica sort of hit the nail on the head, which is they have a phone, even if they don't have um, enough technology at home or are comfortable interacting with it. And I think what's really great about what your team did, and Bo, with your leadership, is you took the AI where it can impact them the most, right? The modality that they're used to is a text message. And Erica, I loved all three of your points, but your third point was also like sort of intimidation of what to ask for. And here you're lowering the bar, like ask me any question, like I will have an answer for it. And even if you have one of the best labor processes, maybe you're one of the biggest franchises in the world, you're not going to get such quick, tailored responses without AI. And so I love that you sort of met the customer, or right now your customer is basically that employee, even though the business is paying for it, right where they needed it most. I think that's one. And then I think that one of the key ways to measure this goes back to like actually hitting the bottom line is hopefully now that you've eased the burden, you sort of lowered the bar of interactivity, you now see this AI feature actually increase your attach rates. More people are buying the platform. More people are applying to the program. And when you can show that real ROI to the business, hopefully, and I'm sure it will, sort of increase that revenue growth increase our expansion growth, hitting our net dollar retention. And then once you sort of solve that for one product, Bo already discussed this, you can start doing it for job description generation. And as a software investor, that's what we look for. We look for, what was your land in terms of an ACV and how did you expand? And the fact that you're able to do it with AI, and you can paint that story. And then also, most importantly, to Ericka's point, help that employee that you have built the product for. I think there's nothing better.
Anna, if I may add to something, Bo, and I think it's, I'm a big believer of always, and I'm sure everybody on this panel, probably has the same mindset, but I always put myself in the individual's shoes, right? So what critical timing is for me might not be for somebody else. And so these responses, right, could seem like forever when without thinking, well, somebody within the office, the GM or whoever should be responding to that, they've got a million other things to do as well. Or they might not know how to prioritize. And with this feature, it is just this ease, I think, to the potential employee. And also we are in the QSR space, the restaurant industry, where, I can tell you with Obampan, one of the things was in some areas, we're very fortunate to have loyal employees to retain them. But in many areas, right next to one of our locations, they would leave for a quarter or for 10 cents more than what you were paying for them. But why? Because of timing. Why? Because of so many factors that were differentiators from what you had. But one of them was speed. One of them was communication. And most importantly was it took you a minute to get back to me. And so there you go. You lose a great employee because of timing. So I think that this is brilliant, Bo, that you guys have been able to think about absolutely everything to make this easy for the employee.
I did want to give maybe each of you just like one more chance to, if you want to leave like one final thought, takeaway, comment, anything like that.
Yeah, I think Bo is already very much on top of this, but I would say that, the most important thing when you launch a product is, listen to your customer, listen to your customer, listen to your customer. And I think also with Ericka's help, like if we can sit and observe at these franchise restaurants, sort of how they're using our product, not how we wish they use our product, but how they actually use it. And of course, I know you guys did all this research before you developed it, but you just learn so much more. And sometimes I find in the companies that I work with, after launching something, the iteration stops. It's like, we finally did it, like so much work. But I would say that because AI is such a fast moving sort of goalpost, and we have access to these amazing franchises that are rapidly scaling, just like spend as much time with the customer as possible. That would be my sort of final thought.
Thank you so much, Anna. That's a very important reminder. As a product person, I really appreciate. And also, I'm very grateful not only, with you as our advisor thinking about where we're going, but we have people like Ericka keep us honest, because Ericka and people like Ericka knows the industry well. And that's literally, there to help us to confirm we're solving the right problem. So thank you so much, both of you.
No, it's okay. I think, I think embracing AI in the franchise space would undoubtedly open new opportunities and unlock so many different ways and create such, sustainable success and efficiencies, and most importantly, innovation for organizations. Because at the end of the day, the franchisor and the franchisee want to be profitable. That's and I do believe with AI, it's a way of just unlocking so many different potential opportunities.
Thank you for listening to On the Clock. For more info, visit workstream.us/podcast. I've included a link in the show notes to watch the complete panel discussion from which this episode was based, and also to connect with all three panelists on LinkedIn. Until next time, we're clocking out.